Hey guys, how's it going? Whew, it's Alexander Williamson here with another episode of The Secret History Living in Your Aquarium Surprise Edition. So, first of all, let's turn this party around, not 360 degrees. There we go. All right, let's turn this party around. Wanted to show off real quick before we go down into the fish layer. I wanted to show off the new aquatic art critters that I have gathered. So I got these beautiful swordtails. These are the females. They're almost fully grown, so they're a smaller variety. They're kind of like a balloon molly type body style, but they're swordtails, and so the males also will have big long swords on them. Now they didn't have any males, so I will have to go search out. I might actually get like a tequila sunrise or sunset, depending on where you buy them. They have different names, and that will might fill in for who they're gonna breed with. But just gorgeous. I got these today from Aquatic Arts. Unboxed them, so I wanted to share them with you. Share how they look, all colorful and colored up. Also, the gold Meduca rice fish. Are in here. They're new as well, and they're more of like kind of a peach color. They're really the like an orange peach, and then they have metallic flake on them, which makes them look kind of golden. So today I want to actually do a question and answer. So I'll sit and I'll actually read your questions and answer them. I have a couple things to go over. Wanted to show you a few things, just why people filter in and realize that the chat exists. I'm a real chat, like Pinocchio. One is that my favorite plant, my Laganandra miboldae, the German metallic pink version, all these beautiful new leaves, all this care and love that I put into it, something is munching on it. And like not just a little, but a ton. It's just eating the leaves like there's no tomorrow. And I can see that its mouth is clearly of a certain size. So I have a few culprits it could be. It could be, I suppose it could be the cribs. Their mouths don't look big enough. This is who I think it is. I think it is the reticulated algae eater. And honestly, I don't need him in here anymore and would love for him to not be in here. So I think I'm going to try to get him out of here. Not necessarily tonight. I just thought I'd make a go for it. And maybe on a crazy whim, I'd get it my first try because he's impossible to catch. He's the Houdini of this tank. He definitely disappears and can get out of any net that you try to put him in. But so we've got that going on. The other fish it could be Gourami. He's not going to be eating leaves. And then the last ones it could be are the plecos. So the gold lemon beautiful plecos, they could be doing it, but I doubt it. So I'm really looking at that the algae eater. He's probably who's doing it. He's gotten pretty big now. They could be doing it, but they're just so pretty. I mean, pretty people and pretty animals just generally don't do things that are inappropriate or wrong, from my experience. Also, look at this. So we have all the leopard frog plecos, all 5 of them now, are hanging out in this little rockery that kind of just fell into place. So that's kind of fun, kind of cool, kind of uh, Macarena. Um, and the Polysperma hygrophila looking fabulous, looking bright and pink. There's been no CO2 in this tank now for quite some time. So I guess coming on 3 weeks maybe. I don't know, but it's still looking pretty good. I know the colors are always worse on a live stream, but really what I wanted to show you was these little swordtails. They're just so incredibly bright neon orange that they look surreal. And then the gold, aka they're really like peach with opal or platinum specks or something like that. Uh, Medakas. So I'd be kind of interested to cross one of these with the red caps I have downstairs. That's what's going on in my neck of the woods. That's new. Also, it's very hot and humid today, so I apologize if I'm sweaty and so forth. But let's get this show on the road downstairs. Let's. Oh, wow. So we're coming in strong with $10 from Curtis. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. I do. Been trying to step up the content just a little bit, the amount that I'm putting out. And yeah, so I really appreciate that, buddy. Um, Big props to you. I really do appreciate that. Um, Also, you guys probably can tell just by looking at me that my autoimmune stuff's kind of flaring up, and I'm not feeling the best. But you guys make me feel better, and talking about fish and all these things that we love in the hobby really does make me feel better. So, um, before we start officially, now that we're 6 minutes in, I thought that I would also show you guys the jade shrimp that are in here. They're looking amazing. I mean, they're just so jadey. They're so jaded. Uh, I love them. This one's like, I don't know what this one's doing. Does that have eggs? I can't tell. No. Um, so I love them. I feel like he's trying to make an escape, but I don't know. So those are new from Aquatic Arts. You know, I already had some others. The others are hanging out over here and doing their thing. They've already molted. So they were ready to change the changeling. And you can kind of tell which ones it was. It was this one who looks like metallic blue almost. Like you can see the iridescence shining off him, shimmering. And so that's one of the ones that definitely ditched his coat. And then the other one I think is up here. But yeah, those jade shrimp, man, they look good from Aquatic Arts. Never have I seen such a good line of them. And then uh, backing out, of course, this tank doing well too. The filter's back on. It had been off for quite some time. Um, Let me update you on the other new things since we talked last. You could see that they have laid eggs again. So she laid these eggs yesterday, late last night. And also, I got more peacock gudgeons. So there's 4 of them now. And that's all gravy and good. And then the last tidbit, I suppose, is that we've got this setup. And if you're curious about it, I have a live stream / video showing how I set up the pump without an air compressor of any sorts. Just setting up a sponge filter that's actually that works without an airline to it. So that way I just have to have the one plug or a plug for the light, too. So really it's just 2 plugs. I'm not heating this because right now it's just, well, one, it's warm enough every day lately, but also I'm keeping the rice fish in here. So I'll probably put baby rice fish in here in the long run. And shrimp. That's probably the goal. And then down here we've got the Iliosoma. I'm getting new Iliosoma from other club members in the Seattle area. So there's also a good chance that when I get more of them, they'll come and live in here instead. It's just they hide and they're really small. They're half an inch. So I feel like it's kind of a disservice to use all this space and stuff of an aquascape unless I am going to treat it like a real nursery for plants and just plant it rather than have it look nice. But I'm excited about how it's going to look. I've got moss started on the end of the log here, and then good solid biological filtration in place. You can see growing on the filter that was an existing filter. You can see the guppy. Oh, never mind. There's a guppy zooming around in here too. That was my canary in the coal mine, and then lots of mulm and all that stuff. So, or not mulm, but biofilm on the rock. So that's kind of what's going on here in this scope. There could be a 10 right here that then I could grow out whatever I'm working on. You can see the cories up here are getting to spawning age. Actually, I thought they were too young still, but I'm looking at some of them, and even though they're only 4 months old, I think that they are old enough now. Some of these that they will be laying eggs within the month. They're definitely behaving as though that were the case. And there's one betta in here. I took out all the red shrimp that were in here. Some of the cories are still pretty small. But I took out all the red shrimp that were in here, all my Reillys or Rileys as it were, and I put them down here. So anybody that was a Riley or a Riley shrimp that didn't fit in, that was either too translucent or I don't know. Like here's another one that just didn't quite cut the grade. Some of them are little, but we'll see. I'm kind of curious if they'll start their own colony, and if they'll end up being Riley or really shrimp with as many normal, aka cherry shrimp, uh, compared to like this tank, which has the Little Red Riding Hoods from Aquatic Arts, their kind of new line. Oh, and before we jump into question and answer mode, the last thing is, so in here, lots of shrimp are shedding today, getting used to their water. I put calcium supplements in the water, just buffering stuff. And so here we've got the long nose algae eating shrimp. Very fun to watch, very bizarre shrimp to watch. These guys have long rostrums, but they have the shortest of the long rostrums of dwarf shrimps with long rostrums. That almost looks like a leech, doesn't it, guys? But I think it's just its antenna base flicking around. I don't know. Now that I see that, I'm curious. I inspected all these shrimp very closely before I pulled them out of the bag from Aquatic Arts, but let's look at another one. That's something weird. I bet that is some little issue, some little parasite on the rostrum. But it probably came from my tank, unfortunately, as I looked real close to make sure. Always from Aquatic Arts. If I don't, if I'm not quarantining things, I always look over every single animal, even though I've literally never had any sort of infection or problem from them ever. Um, but yeah, there's something funky going on, going big trouble in Little China. You can see there's some planaria in the tank too. They're here and there. There's not a ton, but I'd like them to be not around at all. And these guys have had that same problem before, the Malawas. They're cleaning off some bulbs for me right now, but these guys and the gold nebulas with them. So like, here's a gold nebula right here that has the beautiful stripe banding and freckles. And then the Malawas are they don't have that. They're clear and just kind of an interesting. Like there's one right there. They have like polka dots on them, like very tiny. Come on, dots. They give them different colors. So, and then there's a young golden nebula. And obviously, if you want to know any of this or where to get any of this stuff, I should say, aquaticarts.com, link below. There's discounts and so forth. This is a Malawa shrimp, like the least amount of color that it would ever have. I just thought I'd show that real quick because the algae, the short nose algae eating shrimp, these guys, they Now I can't find them, probably. There's only 6 of them anyways. Um, they have an interesting so they have this long rostrum, like you can see here, there's 2 of them, with these weird little tentacle things almost on their nose. And then they also have a hump in their back, and some of them, I think it's the males, but I can't tell for sure. I think it's the males, so not this one. Have the ones who don't have a big hump in their back have red lining in on their belly, like where you'd usually see food through the side of the shrimp. You actually see kind of a red color, like a thin little hairline. So, alright, I've yammered on enough, but I know people wanted to get an update on the aquatic arts stuff now that it's settled and happy. Also, the tiger endlers doing really well. I've got them back to looking more rainbow coloredish. I was gonna show you guys. There's one that has this. Yeah, here we go. It has like a very nice red tail coming in. I don't know if it'll show up that well on the live stream, but I'll get you guys a photo for either Patreon or Facebook or one of the groups elsewhere, Instagram maybe. But yeah, some nice red coloration coming around that tail. And I like the spade tail. I decided that, I like the lyre tail or leer tail a lot, but I think spade or paddle tail is my favorite. Just the ease of getting around and everything, and the color and all that. So, in any case, yeah, that's what's up with them. Here's the other main sire or male, and he could potentially, you can tell he's got the gene to become a leer or lyre tail, a split tail, because he's got a very thin on his caudal fin. It's very thin. I think he just popped around over here. Yep. So see how it's already starting to kind of split, and that's just natural. But he's got kind of a slight reddish orange in there too, and so does the third male. So we've got a good team with the traits that I was looking for lined up to bat. So let me sit down and let's answer some questions. Let me stop doodling around all over the place, and we can have coffee talk or Dr. Pepper talk. So, how's it going, guys? How you guys doing? Let me get the sweat off me. Look pretty for y'all. Thank you very much. Let's see who's crawled in here while I was showing off the stuff. Sunny Doe and fake name. How's it going? Your average fish keeper, abolished farms, Adams aquaculture. Do you know if it's okay for like 120 gallon to be on the floor? That is like a slight angle. Depends on the angle. I would say if it's on the floor, I think it's probably okay. If it's like a very, very slight angle where just one side of the glass is a little bit more, then perhaps you'll see it very exaggerated in that long length. But if there's more than like a quarter inch of fluid difference on the sides, I'd be careful. If it's acrylic, I wouldn't worry about it too much, but if it's glass, that might blow out the side eventually, or it just weakens those points on the low end, and both those corners are subject to any pressure could really mess things up for you. Dead Pro Bobo, how's it going? Jackson Tax, hello, hugs, warm and mental hugs, yes. Oh, Sonny, I'm sorry that your female crib passed away today. That always sucks. I hate that. I love your 134s. I have a group of 7 L333s From Master Breeder Dean. Love them but never see them. Yeah, that's kind of the typical story with those. With the L33s. I like the L333s. You can get them for a while they were on sale for $34. They were small. They were like an inch or 2 inches from Aquatic Arts, but they were really, really good quality. Being bred in the Midwest somewhere. But if you know someone, it's always good to get them from good stock. If you've seen their adults, that's the best way to go. Um, Kenzao, finally see a cherry shrimp carrying eggs after getting them 2 months ago. Yeah, that's pretty standard. I mean, they take some time to kind of get used to their life, their new life. Ian Atkins, hello. Alex, what is the best way to remove plant matter and other detritus when collecting live food from outside? Um, hmm. I would say this. So, I literally use this for all sorts of stuff. You can see it's all cracked and messed up, and I need to get a new one. I actually looked at Value Village, which is like a thrift shop type place, and they used to sell them new. Like, I don't know, they probably had some store that closed down forever ago, but for years they've had them there, and they're in this old, like, retro 80s packaging, and I just buy them for 50 cents a piece, and I love them, and I would bust them every so often. But what I do is I usually get a jar or a container of some sort that has enough room, like a big jar, or a fry container, and I'll put it in, fill it up with water from a tank. Then I'll go out to the source of water and or wherever I'm getting live food from. If that's just a culture, then I don't worry about it a ton from my own stock. But if you're getting it from a pond, like if you're looking for worms or mosquito larvae, you can get a lot of parasites. So just be careful. I recommend making your own mosquito trap in that, like, put the pond out there a month early and then watch it populate so that you know it's not just sitting there for years and years and it's been completely biodiversely populated with nematodes that are going to chew up your fish from the inside out. But then what I do is I tend to get a strainer, and I'll use the turkey baster, and I'll use a light at night. And so if it's something like seed shrimp or sea monkeys, daphnia, baby brine shrimp, things like that, and they're in the water in a bigger tank, I'll shine light through the side, and then they'll all come to that, and then I'll use the turkey baster, suck them up, put them through just a little tea strainer thing that I open up in half, and then any leaves and stuff get stuck in there, and I just kind of shake it out like this over that container, and then I'll use a little bit more of aquarium water that either I pick up before I filter that, and then I just spray down the top of the opposite side of that little filter so that it makes sure to get all the pieces and little daphnia that tries to hold onto it, and that really takes care of a lot of the stuff. But just keep an eye for like wasting diseases and worms in fish's butts and that kind of stuff. Ian Atkins, thank you for that one, by the way. Novice Aquarius, the wind, not we end. I'm so confused. Clay, the reptile guy, what is up? I miss my snakes. I had a couple snakes over the years. I had a corn snake that was melanistic, and then I also had a ball python that I really liked that had, I can't remember the name of the pattern, but it was like red and sage, like almost like a greenish gray. Very cool colors it had. And then I had to give it away when it got like bunny size rather than mouse size. Yeah, but I'm glad you caught me in a live stream as well. Alright, what is the question? I had a red cherry shrimp, dead pro bobo, says, who was pregnant? She gave birth a week ago, but today I couldn't find any of the babies. Where did they go? Well, it depends on your tank. If you have a tank with hiding spots, that's where they are. Usually they'll be gone for 4 to 6 weeks, and you just won't see them. I mean, that's very common. If you look at this tank here, even the cracks and things like in between these plants and in between the granules or up in the wood, there's a good chance I wouldn't see 30 to 100 babies in that tank very often. The best time to go look is put out some food. I recommend Hikari crustacean feed, which all my fish and shrimp are addicted to. I don't know what's in it, crack, but yeah. So I would recommend that, and then late at night if you can, if you can remember some weekend maybe, or if you're a night owl like me, you just put it out at like midnight to 3 o'clock, somewhere in there, and a lot of times they'll come out and eat, as long as there's no fish kind of stalking them and hunting them. But really, you're gonna wait a month or two, and a lot of times mom hides for the last few weeks of her pregnancy too. So that's totally natural. Don't worry about it. They will reappear, and maybe not in greater numbers next time, but they will reappear. All right. Hey, Ginger, what's up? I think my beta diminuata are holding. I've never seen that before, but I'm pretty sure they are. Yeah, that's rad. That's good to hear. I mean, if it's the first round and you're not in a hurry or anything, then don't worry about it, Ginger. They'll do their thing probably. They kind of mess it up the first few times, like cichlids a lot of times. But I know with like the macrostomas and stuff, you can also pick them up, and there's ways depending on the fish, but usually you kind of hold them right behind the gill, by their jaw, by their head, and you just pick them up out of the water, and they'll open up. Sometimes they won't though. So, and there's a chance they could swallow them out of panic, I suppose, with certain species. So look up that species. I just don't know that one. I know macrostomas won't swallow their babies. That they're good at it. They're used to it. But that's cool. I'd love to see pictures too. Um, all right, Sunny Doan, leeches in aquarium. Found a long worm-like thing in my aquarium. It was just squirming around for a second. Thought my coolie loaches spawned and got really surprised. Yeah, it could be that it was some sort of worm in the body of a fish, but more than likely it was a detritus worm. So Google detritus worm and see if that fits the bill. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Novice Aquarius. Yeah, my burnt hair did grow out after all. Some of it. I think there's actually still a spot where you can still see where some of it burned. Whatever. So, um, Ginger. I've also got a paradise fish fry. Oh, cool, cool. Vinegar eel culture is still alive. I hope it is too. I've got so many of those right now. I was making them up because I was gonna sell them with some of the other fish and stuff. Like when I sell a batch of young fish, I thought it'd be a nice thing to include for, I don't know, an extra $5 or free if they buy a decent amount of something. Um, that would have worked out well, wouldn't it have, guys? Right. Uh, Paradise fish are one that I haven't kept in a while. I kept them when I was younger, and they can be very mean and temperamental. But most people online are like, "Oh, a gentle fish that blah blah blah." I've just seen them rip the crap out of other fish before, and each other while mating. But in theory, they're a great cold water tank fish. You don't need a heater. They can go down to like 55 degrees. They live all the way up in Korean Peninsula and all the way down to Malaysia and Borneo. So pretty hardy and cool fish. Big Brian, what's up? Um, Good oddball hair algae eaters for Nano Aquarium. 20 gallons and under. Can't do shrimp because of gudgeon. Yeah, Connor Lane. Welcome. And I think I would recommend First of all, if you can rent it for a while and someone else wants it, the reticulated Siamese algae eater is hands down the best when they're babies. When they're like half an inch or an inch up to 3 inches, they just eat blackbeard, green algae, whatever diatom algae they'll even try to chew off the glass. They are hardcore and I love them, but they get freaking big. So that's not a long-term solution. That's just if you have friends that are like, I'll take it off your hand, or a store that's like, yeah, if you want to buy it, you can bring it back later, and we'll trade you for something or another one. But I would recommend a marble auto sinkless, or the this is not made up RoboCop fish. Look it up. That's its Latin name, RoboCop, and it's an orange autosynclus is what they call it. But that, or maybe some sort of whiptail like wood or banjo catfish, a red lizard tail catfish. They're gonna not necessarily eat all the algae, but they'll eat stuff that falls, like kind of like a cory would or like a pleco. Most plecos, even though they're sucking on the glass and stuff, they're not necessarily eating algae in large amounts. They're eating the biofilm off the glass, and if algae's in the way, they'll eat it. So a lot of people think that plecos are such great algae eaters. Man, they're not the best. There's a lot better options. But yeah, so I would either say check out RoboCop, autosync. I think they're, what are they? Autosyncless RoboCop, or yeah. So that's one option. Another one that I adore, but really, you got to be careful. You got to have a setup for them, kind of. It would be panda loaches. They eat just algae and biofilm. Gobies also do, but gudgeons sometimes can get territorial with gobies, so just be careful. But like some lipstick gudgeons would work, or gobies. Sorry. Let's see. Where did it go? They were just chilling right here on the glass a minute ago. Come back. Usually, if you guys have been watching lately, you know that these odd freaks of fish. Oh, I see you. You can't hide. They come to the glass being disturbed. Very odd. Very odd fish. I don't know what their deal is. But yeah, so lipstick. Those are good. Hey, they did a nice job laying this time. They look very orderly. So those are what I'd recommend. Ghost shrimp, yeah, ghost shrimp have babies that are larval. They need salt water, and ghost shrimp and a mono shrimp can be kind of competitive over food. So I don't recommend raising any other smaller dwarf shrimp with those in particular. Definitely not with the monos. Be careful. Even with ghost shrimp, though, they can eat babies of other shrimp. Matthew Chan, why? I don't know what you're talking about, Matthew. So he said, "Why do you paint your fingernails?" It started because my wife and I were sitting around bored during COVID, and I did it for like, I don't know, 4 weeks or something, and that was that. Moving on. Jackson Tax. Young shrimp hide in the moss and Servassertong. Yes, they definitely do. Howlin' Bowler, how's it going? I like that. Why? Yeah, Matthew Chan, why don't you paint your fingernails? It actually, it's really good for the pH in your tank. It causes the fish to get more calcium and protein just from your hands being in the water. Whatever. How come it is a how come is it for blue dream shrimp not breed true? I have a bunch of brown ones now after only 2 months. Joe, I would ask if you, one, could have accidentally had, is there any way you could have gotten a cherry shrimp in that tank with them? But I know what happened otherwise. So, I have a video on the lineage of shrimp and the genetics of cherry shrimp and Neocaridina shrimp. You probably had a blue dream and a blue velvet, which look very similar, but they come from different lines, and it's the same as mixing orange and blue, or red and blue, or yellow and blue. There's a high likelihood it will revert to wild. Um, so, is there a chance that the shrimp you bought one set of blue dreams from one store and another from another store, or were they got them in another time, or did you buy them all in one batch? If you bought them all in one batch, then that's odd, and that's on whoever you bought them from, and you should talk to them as long as there's no way you got other shrimp in that mix for sure. Uh, let's see here. Novice Aquarius. Confusing question, not wearing glasses and type of... Oh, it's no worries. Um... Indoor fishing inside. I feel like... Is that redundant? That's okay. No worries. Not a fish question, but you mentioned San Bernardino foothills recently. How did you hear about my hometown? Thanks for the content. Oh, I've made my way all over this country, and that's a beautiful area. Probably one of the times I went down to Big Sur and then just kept going afterwards, back when 101 wasn't a mess and broken. Um, I have friends down there. I have friends everywhere. I've been everywhere, man. Across the desert, it's bare, man. Breathe that mountain air, man. Um, yeah, actually, Matthew Chan, I think nail polish could affect fish. If you did it right away, and then put your hand in the tank, it could. A lot of it is, if it's water-based, then it's probably not harmful. It probably had to be tested because humans chew their fingernails, so they actually do test that. But, if it is an oil-based or some other, like, funky gel coat nail type stuff that I know they do now, or glitter, I wouldn't suspect that that's the best for your fish, but any cheap nail polish that you'd get at a normal retailer or outfit, I wouldn't be too worried about. And Tran, hello! Alex, what will your dream aquarium look like? My dream aquarium would be a 375-gallon planted aquarium with species of Crebensis, Apistogramma, Corydoras, a spotted Congo puffer, and some community fish. Wow, well, that's a good one. Yeah, you know, one of the thoughts that I had going through my head for like a dream tank, if I really had a lot of, not like endless amounts of money, but a lot of money at my fingertips, would to be, I wouldn't want necessarily just a big tank because then they could hide in the middle. But I would want maybe like a round tank, like a big track that's maybe acrylic on top so you could stand on top of it and look down into it, and then also stairs leading down so you look around and the whole room or little pit is maybe a 2 foot deep tank that's a circular acrylic, and then I would have it I would put like a hill stream, I think. So it would be a hill stream tank, and then it would have spokes off the wheel. So when you get up out of there, there would be like calm areas, sort of. And I'd be curious to see when you do that, when you naturally have areas with flow, and I'm talking like fast flow, like 10 knots or something. Um, I'd like to see like big hill trout from like the hill stream trouts, and then the hill stream reticulated loach, not loaches. I guess they are reticulated hill stream loach, and things like that. But there's some unusual bigger fish too, and that wouldn't be like a hot water tank necessarily. That would be a like lukewarm tank, I suppose. But in those calmer areas, I'd love to put 1,000 shrimp in a 20,000 gallon or 10,000 gallon tank or 5,000 gallon tank. Keep it shallow, keep it well planted. Some things you'd probably never see again, but I'd just like to see if you could build your favorite creatures from like the Congo River. So it would have Crepensis, and it would have um, uh, Nanochromis species, and then some open sandy areas. It would have Corridoras. It would have pretty much anything that likes flow and burrowing too. It could have gobies and gudgeons, rainbow fish. It could easily have. I'm not one that would be like, oh, it's got to match, and it's just three fish and an accent crustacean. Let's keep it real low key. No, I'd go all out, and I'd just put like 100 species that all would live together in this crazy biome. So that is probably what I would say. Now, realistically, something that I could accomplish myself. Um, Another thing that I would like it would to do a rasbora tank that is set up like a rice paddy. So it would actually be an aquaculture tank, and it would be 240 gallons with the ends busted out and made together, or a custom acrylic. So 80 gallons, power heads that could come off and on, but the flow that kind of does a circular flow, just the way the power heads are set up. And then it would have a canister filter, CO2, so I could grow, and it would be, actually it might need to be deeper than that. So maybe two 75-gallon tanks, something like that. Um, yeah, that would work. And then I would plant actual like rice in it and see like what lake inlay with the rice paddies and the farming, the aquaculture that went on there for, you know, millennia. To have a, I don't know, 1,000 CPDs, and I'd probably start with a few hundred, but I'd really make sure the thing was planted to the brim first, and then, sorry, my nose is itchy. Yeah, so that's probably my answer. Um, let's see what else is going down in the comments and stuff. Uh, are all killifish females dull in color? No. A lot are, but no. There's a lot of African ones that are not. You can find. Is my book handy? No. I have a Bible of fish with 8,000 species, and there's like, I don't know. I don't want to be completely wrong. There's like 10,000 killifish species, so there's something out there for you if you look hard enough. It's just the Austral and like the golden and wonder killies, and I mean, like clown killies are not that boring. The females, they're kind of in a league of their own too, though. I mean, just like Florida flagfish, like is it a killie? Is it a mud pup, or a pup fish, or a dace? Things kind of cross over. uh, let's see here. Oh, weird. Sunny says definitely not planaria or detritus worms. It looked bigger, it was long, and it grabbed onto the glass by one end, and when I tried to grab it, it swam off into the aquarium. Kill it with fire. I don't know what that is. Damn. When I was in China, a kid in China, we caught paradise fish. Sometimes they will rip eyes out of other fish. Yeah, they're pretty hardcore. Uh, DS, what's going on? Lavender shrimp. How much? How much adenosine triphosphate do shrimp consume? You know, I don't know that they need that, or that they I don't know the answer. I'm sorry. That's over my head, I think. You got questions, I've got incorrect answers. I don't know. Maybe Ginger can Google that one. Electro Fry. Oh, you guys are chatting. Sorry. She's got a species only tank though with her paradise fish. That's cool. Uh, Do you think chocolate gouramis can go with shrimp and some rasboras in a 10-gallon with 9 harlequins and 10 or so Daniel? No, that's a lot of stuff there, my friend, for a 10-gallon. So, Sonny, you're saying you've got chocolate gouramis. So those will get 2 to 3 inches. And so if you had a couple, I'm guessing 2 or 3, and they can make a little more bio load. Some rasboras, if you had like Phoenix rasboras, chili rasboras, strawberry, exclamation point, Kubota, neon reds, things like that, then I wouldn't bat my eye at having 20 of the things. But actually harlequins are a little bigger. They're more of a tetra size or small micro Danio size fish. So you got 9 harlequins and 10 Danio fry. Well, fry is fine. If they're Danio fry, that's fine. It's just how long are you going to keep them in there? What kind of Danios are they? If they're Tin Winnie or CPD or erythromicron, um, then party on. But I'd just be careful. Um, Yeah, because the other thing is chocolate gouramis will eat your baby shrimp, but they probably won't go after them intentionally. They're probably just if your shrimp are swimming up at the top of the water, they'll go for it out of instinct. Ginger Kenzao. I currently have a paradise fish that looks slightly bloated since I've gotten him. I would say definitely if you see something like that, say something. No. Put him in a salt bath, a salt dip. It's not gonna hurt, but it may help. Um, do 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 do. So I've got more peppercorn. Yeah. Oh, nice. Helen Beller, glad I could catch a stream tonight. How am I doing? I'm doing okay. I've got, like I said, I've got some inflammation. I've been trying to work on some graphic design. I've been trying to get my dexterity back for doing art from the heart, like by scratch on paper with pen and ink or brush and ink, I should say. But my dexterity is a little rough. Like we've been house hunting because we just want a house where the mortgage is cheaper than the rent we're paying now, and that's just the state of things in Seattle. But yeah, so that's one thing. Another is just that I've been having flares with the partially because of the heat. So I'm doing well. I shouldn't complain, but I can. So yeah, I got Blue Dream shrimp in 1 pack from Joe Aqua. He said they don't breed 100% true. John, if that's the case, those are probably blue velvets. Blue Dreams breed very true. Let me show you. These are Blue Dreams. This is how much. I mean, I've worked very hard to get these to breed as true as they do, but you should be getting like within a range of some might have some translucency or some little dark spots. Like this one is almost black and it's so blue, but and then that one has some lightness to it on its belly, but you shouldn't be getting like clear and gray unless they're a very light color of blue. So, I mean, if they're really cheap, low-grade shrimp, then that's another thing that I guess they could just be from a bad strain. Green shrimp are the ones that traditionally people can't get to breed true. Like these guys are just so hard to get. Like usually their color will not stay for the life of the shrimp. I mean, you'll get yellow stripes down the back, which can look really cool. Oh, we've got one that just buried up. That's definitely why it shed. So they shed in transport frequently. Just hit myself in the face with the with the net. Hope there was not a shrimp in that, and I didn't just like launch a shrimp out of that tank. I don't think there was, but yeah, when you see a shrimp shed right after you get them, a lot of times they're so happy to be out of that bag and into water parameters that are comfy that they will bury up right like that, which is very nice. Now, I do have to say, like, these shrimp, though, they don't. There's a good example. So, this one came out, as you can see, and it's red. It's not like these ones. It's like orange. And even this one has some markings. It's got like a Mike Tyson tattoo. It's not quite set up the way I want it, ideally, to look. But c'est la vie. Let me grab. Where did it go? The trusty turkey baster. It's a friendly shrimpy waster. So I catch them with this, and then we'll just catch and release. The water here is shared essentially between these tanks, so I'm not that worried about it. Check out how this Anubias, though, is growing in so thick and strong just for this weak little light. I mean, Anubias doesn't need a lot of light, but it's doing a good job. There's also some oddball Malawa shrimp in here that you can see, kind of. They're like a lighter color, and I kind of wish I didn't have so many of them in there, but yeah. What's up, Doc? I was gonna try to find that one with the funky rostrum one more time. Do the funky rostrum now. Oh wait, that is it right there. Good. Random catch. I don't know if it's like a fishing lure or like a little leech that's got like. There's some weird evolutionary things with various critters out there in the world. Let's grab. Oh, by the way, my male Battis died, and none of the other females are turning into males for me, so I'm kind of frustrated. I'll get to more questions in a moment. Let's just take this little commercial break to catch that shrimp with the funky rostrum. Do the funky rostrum dance. These guys are so easy to wrangle. They're just so laid back. And let's see here. And they can be out of water for a minute too without it being an issue. See, this guy's doing it with a darker color rostrum, but he still has a light colored something or other in his Oh, never mind. There's two? I just worry because there are parasites that you will see that impact shrimp on their rostrums, and I haven't personally had them, but I've read about them. I've seen cases of friends on their shrimp. But I don't know. I think what I'll do is I'll put it, I'm going to separate it from the other shrimp, and I don't even want the little thing to be able to swim off and do its own thing in its shrimpy world. So what I'm going to do is take them and put them up here where there's no shrimp, and I'll sort it out later. Not my problem now. Okay. Sorry, guys. Aquatics. Nando. Hello, Nando. Carla Molenkamp. What is the best food for Hillstream loach fry? I think that they really like stuff that has fallen to the bottom of the world. That's probably not helpful to you, but I like the algae flakes by Hikari. Those are pretty good. I also find I've made my own mix. If you can get the crab cuisine, which is all I feed my shrimp and crab, or I don't have any micro crabs right now, but this stuff has a lot of ingredients in it that they need for their shells and stuff. So this combined with just having a good balance in your system. So just having lots of little microorganisms and lots of little doodads. That's why I say to people, like, when they see planaria and stuff, like, don't freak out right away. Like, there's a certain amount of little critters and doodads that will exist. Now, what you can freak out a little bit about is when there's way too many snails, like in this tank. I put these bulbs in, and I'm growing out all these Aponegitans. So they had a sale, and for the 3 pack of bulbs at Pet PetSmart, I guess is where it was. They had a deal on them, and I kind of went a little cuckoo and bought a gabillion. And yeah, I want to spawn the erythromicron again, so I think that they're next up to be spawned out. That's not them. These guys, why? There, these guys. They're looking good. Uh, there's a few that from the last batch that never grew up. They Peter Panned and just stayed babies forever. Here's one right now. Speak of the devil. Stayed very small. Uh, like there's another one right back there. It's been like 6 months, and you can see. Oh, look at all the rice fish. The Daisy's blue rice fish have that crazy blue eye. Just look like a blue sapphire swimming in the nothing. Um, Oh yeah, but the hill stream loach food. So I take that, and then I'll take the and speaking of that, then I get the where is it? Where did I set it? Oh, here we go. Pardon the filming. I know it's nauseating, but can't hire a cameraman yet. Can't hire a tripod either. So this stuff, the I like this a lot. Aquarium Co-op Easy Fry Food. It's like fish. It's like leftover processed fish and just bycatch, I think, mostly. What I mean by that is um, catch from when ships catch fish and then they just grind it up. Maybe even from the processing plant. But I like to give a squirt of this. Even if I don't have fry all over, like it just keeps the fish busy. A little squirt spreads out all over, and it's like a tenth of a gram or a 20th of a gram of this stuff actually comes out. But it really does occupy the fish for a while. And in a hillstream tank, it'll settle into areas. You can see how much oil is in it, in that it breaks up even the duckweed. See, I've got more bulbs in here too. Um, but in this tank here, like this Pandagara, he eats that. But I'll take that, and then I'll also take like a Bug Bites, some sort of standard insect-based food. So I'll get the insect-based food, the algae wafers, and the crab pellets, and this. I know it's a lot of stuff to keep track of. But then after I've got all this, I'll put it into one jar, mix it all up, kind of, and you can see that the shrimp actually will come grab it too, off the surface. I do want to spawn these Kubota Rasboras too. I don't know. If I had more CPDs, I'd work on spawning them, but I don't right now. Oh, they look so little in this tank, but see, these guys are eating those crab pellets. Like I said, not dead shed. I have a video on that, on how to tell the difference. I'm guessing they shedded this one. She's going to shed soon too. You can see her tail. Let me focus. You can see her tail is clear. You see that there? She's got a lot of clearness waiting there, and her legs are getting spotty. They're not solid green. So she's either still holding a couple eggs up in there that are no big deal, or she's finished and she wants to get rid of the what's left. You can see the armor. See that extra armor over her inner part of her rostrum, that's in her, like over by her eye. Uh, it leads me to believe that these are not pure Neocaridina, davidi or zangagensis. I think that these are some other really hardy, rugged shrimp, like like a big old tiger shrimp, or um, something else. I don't know. I think whoever is breeding those has got a secret that they're not sharing. Look at all the vinegar eels I have stashed away too. By the way, I have a lot. Those are the ones that weren't in glass bottle. and I'll be transferring them to glass bottles. But, you know, takes time. All right, so I know I was chatting with you guys. Let me get back to that for a moment. All right. Oh, good night to those of you leaving. Oh, I have a super chat. I'm going to skip down to that. If I missed your question before the super chat, ask it again. Are there any corridoras that go well with Neocaridina shrimp? Yeah, lots. I would go with Habrosis corridoras and Panda corridoras. Those are my favorite with them. But dwarf corridoras, I would just say Julii, Trilineatus, Sturbii, and Adolphi, and Schultzii, or Schultzii. I've had them with them, like for sure, experienced in a tank. Most will survive and hang in there and be okay, but they will opportunistically once in a while, just kind of out of nowhere, get like a little hair in their craw and decide to go and hunt. But like these are the Venezuelas. So like same with these are actually they think now maybe a subspecies of Aeneas, which are usually what your albinos are too. Just to mention, so I would say don't worry about it too much. I know this isn't your specialty, but are there any variants or similar species to African dwarf frogs? Yes, so there are. There, and I'm spacing on the name, but the one that lays eggs in its own back that creeps me out. I always forget about it. Um, but then there's also the clawed frog, which is a little bigger, but it's an aquatic frog as well, and it's very similar to the African dwarf frog. And I have a video on it if you look it up, African clawed frog, and also how we used to use those to tell if women were pregnant. You could inject urine into them, as well as rabbits, oddly enough, and that would tell you if they laid eggs. That would tell you if the woman had enough estrogen and thus was pregnant. Um, Eco-Complete good for Caridina. I think Brightwell is better. That's my personal opinion, just because Brightwell buffers the water pretty well. Okay. Alan, thank you so much, Alan. You hopped on here, another 20. So, or now we're up to 20 in super chats. Aquascape contest type. Yeah, totally. That's kind of what this is too. So this Aquascape here that I've set up, this isn't going to stay on here. It's just extra light. Light comes through in the afternoon here. Then I got this pendant light that looks so good. It's just on a little piece of stupid wood that I hope is not treated because it's down in the tank. But I also set this up, and I had several people tell me water is being pushed, not sucked through by air on that. It won't filter. That's not true. So see what it's doing. See how all that stuff is still stuck to it from the other side of the tank. Everything gets pulled towards it. That is proof that it still doesn't matter if it's pushed or pulled or whatever you want to think of it as. It'll be okay. As long as it stays wet and aerated water, it'll be fine. But yeah, so the Aquascape contest, I know we mentioned it in the live video not long ago, but pick an inspiration. So here happens to be an acacia tree and a picture from Africa of a rocky area like Pride Rock with an acacia tree that's all dry. And so I'd have that picture and then this, and then maybe, maybe coolidges represent like zebras, just the patterns. And then you could get some checkerboard cichlids, and that would represent zebras or, whatever, something, be creative. But basically, we're going to have 3 categories I discussed. So we have comparing your idea. So like the idea. So maybe it was, like I said, fighting cancer, and you have red blood cells, white blood cells, cancer, and then you have, like little white fish, like Medaka rice fish that are your white blood cells, red shrimp that are the red blood cells. I'm totally just making this up as we go, as I'm sure you can tell I'm pulling this out of my butt. And maybe like the main cancer in your piece of art, your interpretation would be algae. Maybe you'd purposefully have algae taking over the tank. And in that case, maybe you'd have fish. Like, let me revamp that thought. Instead of that, maybe you have autosynclus as the white blood cells chewing away at it. And your lymphatic system represented by a mono shrimp or something, you know. And then, uh, I don't know. Guys, be creative. That's just really far out there, what I just thought of, out of nowhere. But you could do that. You could say, oh, here is, I saw a picture on the side of a pack, and I want bulbs everywhere. I don't know. I want the tank that I see on this box, or whatever. It could be as simple as that. So you'll get 10 points for that. Alan and I will judge, and then Crystal Kesselman will be the tiebreaker if need be, too. And then you'll also get 10 points on how it was executed. So that just means, like, does your aquarium work? And none of this matters about money. Like I said, you could do it in a Tupperware container, and I'm not going to judge you on that if I can tell that you went to the work of getting several species. And don't tell me that just because you don't have money, you can't get plants. You definitely can talk to people, friends. You can talk. I mean, well, I don't want to open myself up to this right now, but I was saying usually you could talk to me, and people will help you out with some samples of things and stuff like that, or just a clipping. Uh, and same with fish. You don't need a bunch of species, but you could do a couple. And so there's just a lot of directions you can go with. So one is going to be like execution. One is going to be the actual, like the execution of if it's a functional aquarium or aquascape, how the plants are growing and so forth. And then the last one will be like creativity and skill and complexity. So basically the details, the nuances, the metaphors, the and I guess money does give you a major edge, but I'm just trying to tell people that I'm definitely willing to see well past that. You don't need some rimless scape to impress us on this thing. Also, man, I do not trust this sneaky little shrimp. I'm putting a grate over. I need to get a better grate. I've got a better grate, but for now that'll do. That'll do, pig. Uh, but yeah, so did I hype it, Alan? Thanks, buddy. Um, Andrew, have you tried summer tubbing? Oh yeah, you go back and watch some of my other videos. Aquaballs, hello. Stephen the biologist, hello. Uh, Curtis, I don't have oh, okay, you guys are talking amongst yourselves. Hey, Alex, what do you think Customs would say to sending me a culture of the vinegar eels? Customs would probably say, uh, hey there. Hey there, hi there, howdy. It looks like you're trying to bring some illegal eels into our country, eh? Well, we can't have that, no. Death. Um, no, I mean, I could give it a shot. I could try to send you a little something. They're definitely not letting Americans up into BC whatsoever. I would love to go up there right now. Wanted to go to Harrison Lake and watch the stickleback spawn in the hot springs. It makes me happy. They do it in the winter too, so hopefully they open it up by winter. But I was just up there. Not even, I think it was like 7 miles from the border when I was climbing shucks and Aquaballs, my temperature got 89 in the tanks. Ouch! Shrimp and fish are doing good. Must have happened gradually enough, or you must run hot. That's good, though. That's good. If you mean Hillstream loaches, the water temp has got to be below 75. I mean, it's got to be below 80, but 75, yeah, is is definitely, I mean, 72 is ideal. There's a lot of fish that are like that and shrimp that are like that. Medocas too. CPDs, erythromicron. I could go on and on. There are a lot of subtropic fish. Uh, Danikin Aquatics, hello, hello, hello. I hope you're doing well. Um, let's see here. I love to enter the aquascaping contest. Aquaballs, then great. So, like I said, the second weekend of September is when we will be accepting pictures. And then that week we'll take a look at what you got. So we'll need a picture of your inspiration, whatever that is. Whether that's a diagram in a magazine of the dumb cancer analogy I made, or whether that's an Takashi Amano aquascape that you felt like you wanted to try to recreate, or a Dutch, or an Iwagumi. I mean, Iwagumi could be a really easy way not to give it away, but I've got lots of intro videos to Iwagumi. So you just need 5 rocks, guys. 5 rocks and some sand and a Tupperware, and you'd be off to the races. So, yeah. Oh, and then we're gonna give away the signed book by Crystal Castleman. Also, I think, just because it's prettier than my mug, I think we've got most of the longfin bibbies from the white and lemon pleco crosses. 2 different groups of fry here, but they crossed with the same female who had long fins, and only a quarter of the babies had long fins because it was a recessive. So you can see there's a couple that aren't, but mostly I picked correctly, it looks like. I'm seeing a lot of long fin. Look at this one, very nice. It's going to be very nice looking. It's got something going on with its eye though, and I don't know what. This is the first that I've actually zoomed in with a camera. Let's see what's going on. I can't tell if it's a bruise or something going on with fungi or for like the formation of it. It looks, I mean, I would assume that's a fungi or bacterial infection. I've never seen that before though on a pleco like that. Now, mind you, this is a very small pleco. Very small. So, boy, I have to do some searching. Any of you guys know anything about that? It looks like it's functioning just fine. It's not swollen too much. Maybe a little bulged out. I don't know. Gills aren't red or anything. Yeah, it's not swollen out. That's its little nose deal. Huh. Ugh. Alright. Curtis, amazing find. Baby's smaller than a grain of sand. Yeah, the winner gets the excellent, awesome book that I can't go get right now because my wife's upstairs watching, I think, the Democratic convention thing. I was like, I can't deal with politics anymore. I just want to look at my fish and say, my fish, precious. Alan, I love you, buddy. But it's a book that you can only get from her on her website, and you can't get outside the or you can't get inside the US. You can only get it from her website. Nobody's distributing it. Amazon ain't got ish on it. What is going? I still am just want to know why these shrimp have little wiggly. That one is dark colored, but they're doing the same thing. It's like, I can't tell if it's an appendage or some sort of like mite or leech. It looks like an appendage there. Can you see that? It's a completely different shrimp now that we're looking at. And it's got like a white, it's in the center of the 2 rostrums. Looks like it has a mind of its own, but I don't know. Now I'll have to find out what's going on unless someone can tell me. I just worry because there are lots of rostrum. Oh, and this one just shed. See how shiny it is? So it just lost its outer layer. So this is a fully adult one, by the way, of the short nose algae eating Japanese shrimp. There's a short name. Uh, oh, it's got the same thing. It's it's doing the same thing. So we'll find out if that's a body part or if that is something bad. I'm worried it's something bad, but I mean, it looks pretty innocuous at the same time. But in any case, so this is the full-grown ones. They get a little bigger than neocardinas in length, but they've got that red vein that runs through their body usually. And then they've got the saddle and the ridge back. Females get the big saddle and they get a really big hump. And they've just got all sorts of little antennae all over, or feelers. Um, so, yeah. I'll have to look it up. There are a lot of shrimp diseases out there. I live in Asia and my water temperature is 86 to 90 and everything is thriving. Seems that the crimp flamingo melted. So did the Boost red or sky red mini. Is it most? Yeah, that's probably because of the temperature. Although crimps can handle quite a bit of temperature. If you're using liquid carbon or any sort of algicide, that's what killed it. That will kill it quicker than you can say crip. Um, let's see here. Do 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 do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, fake name, black eye. It's totally what it looks like. Sir, you can share your thoughts and experiences with using CO2 and CO2 Bell for planted tanks. Yes, I love CO2. It's running 24/7 at a very slow rate in here, which is kind of wasteful. But I didn't have a solenoid or a power strip to plug the solenoid into over here. Uh, but yeah, so this just one in this 40 breeder, you can see that the diffuser is pretty small. If it were at 2 or 3, there'd be a chance that at night with the off gassing, I could gas and kill all the fish. But right now, it's like one bubble a second or less. But just that boost, I mean, it really does add to the beautiful colors you can get, and it really it adds to the color if you're using fertilizers, but you need to use them in tandem. And then, regardless of what you're doing with fertilizers and things, the really cool thing that it does is it encourages density and rigidity of form. So you really get the plants in their ideal form. You get like back here, you get the branching off at even intervals. You get tight leaf clusters that are very healthy, and then vivid in coloration. They're not all wonky and wobbly like this. You get the beautiful variegated colors and things, like in there. Same with upstairs. The tank upstairs is using that. Although right now it's been 6. Is that That's not correct. It's been at least 3 weeks, maybe more. This tank up here has not had C2 running in it, and just a highlight will do that. So you really need to use all those elements in tandem rather than using them. You don't. I mean, CO2 on its own will help a little. Ferts on their own will help a little. But really, you need to use all these pieces of the puzzle together to get your max usage out of them. I got a 14 out of a 20 with a broken right arm. Had to do everything with my left hand. Oh, you guys are talking. If you like what Alex is doing, like the video. Yeah, that's a good idea. Um, since I've been working at a fish store recently, all I can say is that your briefing over a history of fish helped me immensely. Just wanted to say thank you, brother. Well, thank you very much, Super Cartridge Kid. I like that name too. Oh man, I spent a lot of my life on N64, Super Nintendo, NES. Yeah, that's a video I'm really proud of, honestly. That one, there's a two-part series called the history, and I never finished it because it just stopped getting views. Like it stopped getting a lot of views after kind of snowballing, and then it just dropped off a cliff. And then I was like, well, I should redo this as one long hour and a half long video or something. And now I've just put it off. But yeah, there's from 18 or from ancient times until the 1920s ish, and then from basically turn of the century to the 1920s, depends on who you ask, but really it's turn of the century till World War II that I cover in videos. But also there's one called like the history so far of the our hobby and what's impacted it in 20 and what's impacting it this year. So in 2020, all the world conflicts that are impacting it. That's another one. Colonialism and angelfish and guppies. That's another one. So if you go to my playlists and you go to the best of playlist, it has the stuff that I think I put the most research into, essentially, mostly. That's what's in there. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Um, I use a lot of different substrates, but I have a video on substrates, crown tail, half moon, beta. I just have to say beta. Um, but I like ADA Amazonia Light or ADA Amazonia 2, little less ammonia and nitrites than the original stuff, a little bit lighter in color, and then also the pellets are a little more irregular. They kind of deteriorate a little bit, so they eventually will turn to kind of dust, which is annoying. I mean, all of it will, but they turn to dust a little quicker. But so then I'll add in either Fluval stratum, or I'll add in a little bit of fluorite, or I'll add in sand. I mean, you can see here, this one is Fluval stratum with just the ADA underneath, because I don't want it, the water needs to be very clear for these guys. Less concerned about any sort of growing uh, of plants, and more so needing the pH to be at a comfortable level for these guys. Also, I mean, these guys aren't supposed to have babies or anything. They're supposed to have a larval stage where they go out to sea and all this stuff. I just must have not seen getting this one, but there's one that's like half an inch long that I must have just not seen when I put them all in here, because I just don't remember that. But this is just sand from the beach that I cleaned off really thoroughly. And then we've got uh, you can see how the substrate kind of stratifies. So below that is the ADA, and it'll just kind of settle that way. Here's just gravel, crushed coral, and ADA Amazonia original. This has been 2 years, and it's just my blue dream shrimp, and then I hatch various nano fish in here. This is just gravel and coral. No plants that need any sort of that. Yeah, it's so weird. Look at the black eye on that fish. Very weird. Whereas over here, this is the oldest tank. That's 3 years of ADA Amazonia. So, and then here we've got zones of Amazonia, and then just pebbles, and then sand under that. But I like to put sand at the very bottom. Oh, cool. This pleco that's been hiding forever is back out. My green dragon purple eye. He's back. I don't know how he hid. He was supposed to go to his new home with everyone else in his crew, but he managed to hide somewhere. It might have even been like under the bottom of the sponge filter or something. You can see all the nice color coming through on those guys right now too. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you for the super chats and all that, and for chatting. Uh, I appreciate it. And like I said, check out the playlist. Check out the last video. We're doing a $50 giveaway in 72 hours from this morning. So that would be what? Saturday morning? Saturday morning. Um, or Saturday at some point, I should say. And then also, there was one more question. Oh, Matthew Chan said, can you elaborate on your previous comment of liquid carbon killing plants? No, I didn't mean it kills plants. Somebody asked about crypts, and talked about them being at a very high heat usually. Well, crypts, so let me clarify in that companies like Seachem sell things like XL or Seachem Flourish XL, and that has an algicide in it, and it has, let's see, do I have it handy? I may. Um, so the main thing that you don't want in there is the polycycloglutarate. Oh, I can never say this word. This this and its ilk. Polycycloglutaracetol. Polyglutal taracel. Taracetol. Ugh, that's hard to say, but basically, it's a very carbon. I mean, it has a carbon ring in it, like an organic ring in it, a hexagon. But it what it does is it actually causes it melts, and we don't know why, but it melts jungle val, it melts crypts, melts Aereo callus sometimes, uh, corkscrew val, Sawassertongue, things like that. It can melt. It may be that those things have similar protein reactions, and similar just evolutionarily that they're similar to the way algae functions, photosynthetic algae, obviously. Or it could be something completely unrelated. But my guess is that what it's doing is it gives, ideally people think they're giving more carbon to the plants to give them an edge to outcompete eating up the nutrients and thus starving the algae out. But really what it does is it's too big of a molecule for the plant to be able to deconstruct and use effectively quickly, and it ends up messing up the vascular um, system in the plant, and it causes it to melt in certain plants that are very thin. Nymphea micrantha, Nymphea minutia, Nymphea, or Taiwanese nymphaeas, and things like that too. All right, you guys, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm getting worn out again, as always. I should be coming out with a video. I hope you guys like the video on do fish drink water and do they pee. It surprised me that half of all fish, freshwater fish, don't really drink water. Saltwater fish drink water all day long and pee all day long. They're peeing all over the ocean. But freshwater fish just secrete ammonia, and other than salmonoids and fish that originated as saltwater fish, so trout and certain bass and things, they do it defensively. So when they get scared, if you reel them in, they have like a pea-like substance. But they're really using that urea to taste gross and smell bad and stop other critters from eating them. Thank you for being a mod. Thank you for being a friend. Um, Very much, Ginger. I hope everybody's doing well. And I hope everybody goes and watches my best of videos and the giveaway info videos, so you can get a $50 gift certificate to Aquatic Arts in the next 2 or 3 days. And then we're going to give away $100, probably that on Saturday also. And then we're going to give away the book that's probably worth like $200. I mean, it's like 100, but with shipping and customs and just it being hard to find and it being signed, all that jazz, it's worth a lot. It's worth its weight in gold. But time for me to rest. Thank you guys. As always, take care of your critters. Take care of your plants, the people around you, and yourself. Or you can't do the other things, and then it's pointless. So, yeah. And I think if half of us did half of those things, taking care of ourselves, or the people around us, our critters, our world, that we would live in a world that is twice as good. Have a good night, peeps. Thank you, fake name, also for being a Madi Madi Madi. Free Mahi Madi. Free Madi Madi. And Alan and Curtis, thank you for those super chats. It's raining. I wish I could take some. I wish you could get digital dollar bills and make it rain in the app. Someone needs to work on that. And Super Cartridge Kid, love the name. Thanks for asking the questions you did. All right, guys, I'm out.